You know, there's a conversation we don't have enough, one that makes families uncomfortable, that gets whispered about but rarely faced head on, and that's the truth about nursing homes. Now, I'm not here to scare you, but I am here to arm you with the facts, because if you or someone you love is considering this option, you deserve to know exactly what you're walking into. Let me tell you about my friend Margaret. At 78, she sold her home after a minor fall, thinking a nursing facility would mean safety, care, and companionship. But within 6 months, she was calling her daughter daily, begging to come home. The staff was stretched too thin, her medications got mixed up twice, and the loneliness, worse than she'd ever imagined. Now, Margaret's story isn't everyone's story. Some facilities do wonderful work, but today we're pulling back the curtain on 5 shocking truths the brochures don't mention. And by the end, you'll know exactly what questions to ask, what warning signs to watch for, and, most importantly, how to protect yourself or your loved ones. Let's start with the first truth, one that catches so many families off guard. Truth number 1, your private room won't feel like home, it'll feel like a hospital. That glossy brochure shows cozy armchairs and sunny windows, doesn't it? But here's the reality. Most facilities prioritize function over comfort. Walk into a typical private room and you'll find hospital-grade beds bolted to the floor, fluorescent lighting, and walls painted that awful antiseptic beige. There's no space for your favorite reading lamp, your quilt from home, or even family photos unless you tape them to the cinder block walls. And the noise? Oh, dear friends, at 2 a.m., you'll hear call bells dinging down the hall, aides chatting at the nurse's station, and the coughs or cries of neighbors. One resident told me, "It's like trying to sleep in a busy airport, but you never get to leave." Now you might think, well, safety comes first. And you're right. But when studies show that environment directly impacts depression rates in seniors, we have to ask, why are we settling for places that feel more like warehouses than homes? Truth of number 2, the staff cares, but they're overworked and underpaid. This next truth breaks my heart because it's not the fault of the hard-working nurses and aides. The truth? Most facilities are chronically understaffed. Imagine one aide responsible for 15 residents at a time, bathing, feeding, medicating, all while filling out mountains of paperwork. A nurse named Linda wrote to me, "I want to sit and hold Mrs. Thompson's hand when she cries about her late husband. But if I do, Mr. Garcia won't get his insulin on time." And here's what no one tells you. That turnover rate you hear about? It's not because the staff doesn't care. It's because they're paid barely above minimum wage to do backbreaking emotional work. So what does this mean for you? Well, that assisted shower might be a 5-minute rinse-off. Your call button might go unanswered for 20 minutes. And that's if your favorite aide hasn't quit last week. Now, before we go further, I need you to hear this. Knowledge is power. And what we're about to cover next, including the one question you must ask about staffing before signing any contract, could make all the difference. Let's talk about the hidden dangers that don't make it into the facility tours. This is the part where adult children often tell me, if only we'd known this sooner. Truth number 3, your medications may be managed but not monitored. Here's a frightening statistic. A Johns Hopkins study found that over 90% of nursing home residents experience at least one medication error per year. Not maybe, per year. And it's not always the staff's fault. Picture this. 10 different doctors prescribe pills without coordinating. Overworked nurses rush through 7 a.m. med passes. Pharmacy substitutions happen without family notification. I'll never forget Mr. Donovan, who was given double doses of his blood thinner for 3 days straight because his chart wasn't updated after a hospital visit. His daughter only caught it when she noticed his gums bleeding during a visit. But they have a system, you might say. Oh, they do. But when one nurse handles 30 residents' meds before lunch, mistakes aren't just possible, They're predictable. Truth number 4, the contract you sign can bankrupt your family. See this? Standard nursing home paperwork, buried in page 17. Clauses like private pay rate increases of 8% annually, or personal funds may be used for extras like wheelchair repairs. Here's how it really works. 1, you spend down life savings to qualify for Medicaid. 2, the facility lowers your care level, fewer baths, cheaper food. 3, your family gets bills for non-covered services like hydration assistance, Reed helping you drink water. A widow named Rosa shared her bill with me, $287 monthly for nail care. Not a typo. Her manicures were a nurse clipping her toenails, something her daughter could have done for free. But Medicare covers this. Nope. Medicare pays for short-term rehab only. Long-term care, that's $8,000 to $12,000 a month out of pocket until you're poor enough for Medicaid. Now you're probably thinking, what's the alternative? And that's exactly where we need to go next, because once you hear truth number 5, you'll see why thousands of families are choosing surprising new options. And now we come to the hardest truth of all, the one that leaves children whispering, "We had no idea," after visiting mom or dad. This isn't about money or medications, it's about something far more fundamental. Truth number 5, the greatest danger isn't neglect, it's loss of personhood. That's a clinical way to say what Martha, an 82-year-old former librarian, told me through tears. They treat me like a dying houseplant, water me, move me into the sun, but nobody cares what I think anymore. Here's what happens behind those locked dementia unit doors. Meals served on their schedule, even if you've eaten lunch at noon for 50 years. Activities chosen for you. Bingo when you hate bingo. Staff calling you sweetie. Despite your PhD, your military service, your whole life. A JAMA study found that 62% of nursing home residents show signs of learned helplessness within 6 months. Not because they're ill, because the system trains them to stop trying. But here's what they don't want you to know. It doesn't have to be this way. Across the country, families are finding alternatives that honor dignity and safety. Let me show you. Solutions 1. Aging in place teams. Companies now send rotating caregivers to your home for less than half the cost of facilities. Physical therapists, meal prep, even overnight aides. All while you keep your own bed, your own photos, your own life. The Granny Pod Revolution. These high-tech backyard cottages, show image, let you live independently while family is steps away. Medicaid approved in 38 states with fall sensors and telemedicine built in. 3. The Finnish model. In Helsinki, seniors live in apartment blocks with 24/7 support. Coffee shops on the first floor, nurses on call, and, this is key, keys to their own front doors. Why? Because autonomy is healthcare too. So here's my challenge to you tonight. Before you or a loved one ever signs a nursing home contract, stop. Visit twice. Once during activities, once at 11 p.m. Count how many minutes it takes for a call light to be answered. Smell the hallways. And ask residents one question. What do you miss most from home? Because you deserve more than safe enough. You deserve joy. You deserve respect. And most of all, you deserve choices. Drop a heart in the comments if you've seen these truths firsthand, or if this video gave you hope. And if you're ready to explore those alternatives, hit subscribe, because next week we're diving deep into how to afford aging in place without going bankrupt. Until then, remember, getting older isn't about surrendering your life, it's about protecting it. You've earned nothing less.